welcome back to Represent NYC. I'm Victoria Burt. I'm the producer of this show, and we wanted to bring you some information about the Census 2020. I have Rachel Bloom here with Citizens Union. Rachel, tell the people a little bit about yourself and how you participate in this and how you are working with the Census.
Sure. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm the Director of Public Policy and Programs at Citizens Union, and I sit on the steering committee of New York Counts 2020, which is the statewide coalition that's been focused on the census and making sure we have an accurate count here in New York City and state for the past 2 years.
Tell me, first of all, I mean, we've heard this before many times, but why is this so important now? Why is every person being counted important?
Well, we're counted now because it's how it's mandated by the Constitution. But the reason the census is so important is because it basically decides how funds are allocated, how congressional and political power is allocated. It makes business decisions. It impacts everything from how many trains are going to run, how many people live in a certain neighborhood, so how many hospital beds they're going to get, how many classrooms they need to build, how many new targets are going to be developed. I mean, it impacts all of those, and then it also impacts our political power. So it impacts how many seats we have in Congress. It impacts how we redistrict within our state. It impacts our city council districts. It impacts our state seats. And all of that is power, and as well as our electoral college, how many seats we get in the electoral college. And so every time someone doesn't participate in the census, they are losing money and they are losing political power. And we need, especially right now, as much of that as we can have.
How is the coronavirus and the COVID-19, the pandemic and the social distancing and the people being told to stay home, does that include census workers? How is this going to change this process? What's going to happen now?
You know, there's a lot of things to be disappointed about that have happened, obviously, in the last week. And the census is one of them. People have been preparing outreach campaigns for the last 18 months to 2 years leading up to this date, and they've all been called off. All census outreach, in-person outreach, has been called off, although you'll be seeing a lot of it happening digitally and online. For instance, we're going to be hosting some civics classes next week for students who are home and want to learn more about the census, as well as other things that will be happening. But all in-person activity has been called off at the moment. But having said that, that does not impact our ability to respond to the census. So everyone in New York, everyone across the country should have received a mailing starting last week. I got mine. It was a very exciting evening for me. And it's going to give you a website to go to. It's the Census Bureau website. And on that piece of paper, there is your own unique code, and you can fill it in. And you are asked 10 very simple questions. It's about sort of very simple questions. How many people live in your home? What are your racial and ethnic identities? What are their ages? And those 10 questions, you fill them out, and then you are done. You don't have to interact with someone else. You don't have to leave your apartment. It is the ultimate activity that you can be doing while socially isolating that is also going to help and strengthen your community. And especially so many people in New York City live with roommates, and you need to be filling this out with your roommate because you each need to give your information. This is a great opportunity. You don't need to worry about figuring out when you're both going to be home on Tuesday night, because guess what? You're both home. And I think for parents, this is a really great opportunity to do it with your children, explain the process, why it's important. And I think I have been so impressed at the ways that everyone is reaching out and wants to help and wants to be involved and wants to do what they can. Let me tell you, one of the best things that you can do for your community is respond to the census, because the census is going to determine resources and funding moving forward.
So just to give you an example, something from my own life, my mom is she's 90 and she doesn't have a computer. So she told me she's expecting to get something in the mail. She might have gotten it this week. She didn't tell me that last night, but let's assume. So all she has to do is fill it out and send it back, or can she call because she doesn't have a computer?
So your mom can call and respond to the census on the phone. Another great thing everyone can do at home while social distancing. And if you call, It is available in multiple languages if you call in to fill out your census. And eventually, you can also fill out your census form in the old-fashioned way via paper. So all of those options are available to your mother. What's a real shame is that there were so many community groups, and the library system had really built out a robust program. And so libraries had really been preparing for this moment so that your mother could have walked into her local branch and someone there would have, sat down and helped her with it. And that's really, there's so many things that are unfortunate about what's happening right now, but that's one of them. But I think that you can, she can fill it out that way. So via paper, via the phone, via the internet, if you are helping her somehow.
So if there is an ease up with social distancing within the next few months, do things go back to the original plan, or is this sort of just going to be the course from now on? We're going to go through a digital route, a virtual route to count.
Well, I mean, we were always going to be aiming to have people respond to the census digitally, right? This is the first time the census is being done online. And here's something to blow your mind, that 10 years ago, we didn't have tablets. There were no iPads in 2010.
Right.
Blows my mind, right? And so when people were talking about having to do a door knocking campaign, they said, well, it's a totally different thing now, because now we have tablets and we have this technology that we can use. I think that anyone who says they know what the census is going to look like in a month or two is just wrong. I think we don't know what anything's going to look like in a month or two.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
But what I can tell you is that we are working to respond to this. The Census Bureau, the advocates, the government. This is something that we are working to respond to, and we are going to do all that we can. I mean, if there will be door knocking, I think we're going to have a robust campaign. I think there will be a lot of people looking for work who could sign up to be census workers if we end up hiring people again. But I just don't know, and that is the truth of the matter. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I don't.
No, that's okay. I want to thank you so much for meeting me here on Skype and for talking about this with us, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you for watching Represent NYC here at Manhattan Neighborhood Network. I'm Victoria Bird. I'm the producer of this show, and thanks for watching.